Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to take you on another walk around Portcawl, but this time it's going to be slightly different because I'm going to follow this. A guidebook dated from 1929. A guidebook of Portcawl, and it's called Porthcawl, the Bracing Health Resort of South Wales, the official handbook. Right, I've already got an issue with this book because on page 10 it says this: Portcawl is favoured by a low rainfall, mild climate and much sunshine. Let's go back. Low rainfall? Really? Portcawl, low rainfall? I think it's rained every day for the past 3 weeks. But at least the sun's out. Well, the sun's still out, just. The rain's holding off, but there's an icy wind. So I'm in the shelter just across from the Seafront Hotel. Anyway, back to the book. And it starts with this: Porthcawl, the ideal holiday resort. The ideal holiday resort is that which combines all the amenities of an up-to-date town, all the attractive features of a seaside resort, and all the pleasures of a beautiful country. In these respects, Portcawl can certainly claim to be ideal. By the way, this video is meant to be an affectionate look at Portcawl. Personally, I think it's looking better now than it has done for a long time. But if you don't agree and want to moan, there's plenty of groups for you over on Facebook where you can moan about anything and everything, okay? But I personally like the place and I think it's looking better. And the new developments, if you don't like those, look at this map. Most of you probably live in what was a new development at one point, because Portcawl is much bigger now than it was in 1929. If you look at the map, it's sort of stopped by Victoria Avenue. And going east, there was only New Road, Queen's Avenue and Newton Village. Nearly everything else outside town came well after 1929. The clouds are coming. Let's get a move on. The wind's picked up. And it looks like rain's coming. So for a few minutes I'm going to seek shelter here in this shelter on the green opposite the Atlantic Hotel, which brings us on to the hotels of Portcawl from 1929. So what does the guide say about the hotels in Portcawl? Though comparatively small, the town possesses all the advantages and utility services of larger towns, high-class hotels and select well-appointed boarding establishments. So I mentioned I'm in the shelter on the green opposite the Atlantic Hotel on West Drive. Back in 1929, that wasn't a hotel. It was this, St. Catherine's School for Girls. Take a look at the ad. I'm glad to say the restaurant part of the hotel reopened before Christmas, and the hotel should be opening up again fully sometime this year. So that's a positive for the town. So, Atlantic Hotel, former St. Catherine's School for Girls. The Seabank Hotel, which is still here. It's now a hotel for coach parties and things like that. In the advert in 1929, it's described as the golfer's paradise. 2 acres of gardens, tennis courts, and parking for up to 40 cars. So I'm walking along Portcawl Seafront, past the Grand Pavilion, which I'll ignore because back in 1929 it wasn't there. That wasn't built until 1932. So we'll ignore that. I'm heading into town for the next hotel, suitably named the Portcawl Hotel. Well, before I go into town and to the Portcawl Hotel, I'll stop here in front of Esplanade House, which is the site of the old Esplanade Hotel. And in the advert from 1929, it says running water in bedrooms. I assume it's through the tap but not through the ceiling. And it describes itself as the finest hotel in South Wales. So there's the Portcawl Hotel, looking a bit worse for wear. And in the advert, it says the Portcawl Hotel, the most comfortable hotel in Portcawl, terms very moderate. Can you hear that? The rain has arrived, along with the thunder. This must be the mild climate described in the guidebook. I think rain stops playing for a bit. Time for a cup of tea. There were more hotels at the time, the Pier Hotel, the Marine Hotel, but I'm only doing the ones which appear in the guidebook. As well as the hotels, take a look at these, all the apartments and guest houses. Right, before we go any further, let's have a look at this section in the guide, described as pithy points of Porthcawl. So, pithy points of Porthcawl. Bracing air, mild climate, beautiful seascapes. Sea trips to Somerset, Devon and Welsh resorts. Fine facilities for bathing, swimming, sailing and boating. All kinds of sport, recreation and amusement. Many miles of free common and sands. Excellent railway, charabanc, omnibus and taxi services. And there's more. Attractive, up-to-date shops, first-class hotels, boarding and apartment houses, full postal services, high-class colleges and schools, historic monuments, urban district council administration, soil alluvial and gravelly on limestone bed, bit detailed, water supply soft, pure upland, charming building sites available, prospective town planning, commodious garages, council car parks on the Common, Cozy Corner and Coney Beach. Well, regarding the sea air of Porthcawl, there's a quote in the book that reads, "The wonderful air of Porthcawl conduces to a good clean body, a good clean mind and a good clear soul." That doesn't apply to anybody I know from Porthcawl. And that quote is from Ramsay MacDonald, and they say in the book, ex-Prime Minister. Well, he was Prime Minister for 9 months in 1924, but he was Prime Minister again just after that book was written in 1929. So let's have a look at some of the adverts of the old shops and cafes from Porthcawl. And I think what I'll do next is actually go into town and see what's there now, and are any of those shops shops or cafes or businesses still there. Well, just before I walk down John Street, I'm on the Seafront, and in the guidebook it's an advert for Evans Restaurant, hot and cold luncheons, dainty teas, and the address is 36 the Esplanade, and that would be roughly where the boathouse is now. But one thing that may have changed is the numbering. I'm not sure if the numbering has changed on some of these buildings. I don't think it has, but that's the only thing that may affect the position. So anyway, to town. So the wind's really picked up now, and one of the adverts in the guidebook was for Langdon's Grocers, 6 John Street, best bacon and butter. It would have been over there, I think next to Subway. Well, that building's new, so it would have been around there somewhere. So the next one is F.E. Duck, dispensing and photographic chemist, 24 John Street, and I think that is now the fruit bowl. So next to the Portcawl Hotel was H.B. Comley and Sons Limited, hot and cold luncheons and afternoon tea. So the next business I'm going to stop at is still here, Walter's Shoes. And another business still here is the estate agent there. You can see, since 1911. Back in 1929, the advert said T. Elwood, Deere and Son and Grisel. I think that company wound up with Grisel in 1940, and it continued as just T. Elwood, Deere and Son. So that's another one still around. So just up here on the left, I think where Bliss is now, that shop there, 48, yeah, 48, that was Brackies, the ice cream people. That one there, Brackies, the ice cream people, 1929. Moving up the road from 48 to 52 John Street, Shaw Trust, that was Tom Morgan, fruit merchant and confectioner. Moving up to where Home and Colonial is there, that was J.E. Davis and Son, Cloth Hall, exclusive gentlemen's outfitters. So Robin's Nest, 65 John Street, H. Woodley & Co. Family Butchers. You can see Boots behind me, 1929, Thomas Phillips and Sons, high class grocers and provision merchants. And our final one in the street, and the rain starting again, is still here. It's Bon Marché. I think Bon Marché it should be, shouldn't it? But everyone here calls it Bon Marché. Proprietor W.J. Harris. There it is. Bon Marché, W.J. Harris, established 1913. So we're going to continue down John Street, and the rain starting. There's a couple more in the guidebook this way. There was Bailey Optician, and that's been knocked down. It's now Stoneleigh Court. And further down was, let's have a look, R. Sampson and Son, underwear, socks and hose. That was 126 John Street, and that building's still there. So Bailey Optician was around here, and then R. Sampson and Son was just there, and there's a nice lorry parked in front of the place. Well, that building there, that was R. Sampson and Son. Well, let's take a look at some other adverts from the guidebook. Here they come now. So that was a quick look at the businesses, cafes and shops in John Street, which had adverts in the guide. Can you remember any of them? We won't mention your age. Anyway, let's go back to the seafront. Well, that was a quick look around Portcawl, the bracing health resort of South Wales. I think the weather's beat me today. It's a bit grim. But before I go, one last word from the guidebook. Blend in the bracing breezes of the Atlantic Ocean with the mild temperature of the Channel. Porthcawl has a healthy and invigorating yet mild climate. Mild? I wouldn't really call it mild today, but I'll give you bracing. It's definitely bracing. Anyway, I'll see you in another video coming up next. Bye.